So get this, what if ordering a couple of pizzas could actually launch a global financial revolution? I know, it sounds kind of crazy, but that is exactly how the next chapter of the internet got started.
Now, before we dive into that wild story, all the analysis we're about to break down for you comes from the work of economist ARA KARYAN.
And he's not just anyone. He holds a PhD in economics, is an associate professor at Yerevan State University, and he's deeply involved as president of the Logika NGO and a member of the FinTech Armenia Association. He even coordinates the working group on tokenization. So basically, he knows this space inside and out. All right, with that foundation laid, let's get into the story.
Okay, let's get right to it. This whole thing kicks off with a question that sounds, well, kind of unbelievable. How in the world did 2 ordinary pizzas become the single most expensive meal ever recorded?
So let's travel back in time. The date is May 22nd, 2010. We've got a programmer, Laszlo Hanyecz, who just wants to get some dinner. You know, a couple of large pizzas. A totally normal thing to do. But what he did next would go down in history. Because it wasn't about what he bought, it was all about how he paid for it.
See, instead of pulling out a credit card, Laszlo decided to use this brand new, super experimental digital currency called Bitcoin. And the price for his dinner? Exactly 10,000 of them. Now, at the time, those 10,000 Bitcoins were worth about 41 bucks. Yep, that's it. A perfectly normal price for 2 pizzas, right? Nothing to see here.
Okay, now brace yourself. Fast forward to today, those same 10,000 Bitcoin, they're now worth over $600 million. No, that's not a typo. Over $500 million. For 2 pizzas, making it without a doubt the priciest dinner in all of human history.
So the big question is, how? How on earth does a bit of computer code go from being basically worthless to making a pizza order worth that kind of insane money? Well, Bitcoin didn't just pop up out of thin air. It was actually created as a solution to a huge problem that was brewing right at the core of the internet.
You see, the early internet, Web 1.0, was like the Wild West. Totally open, decentralized, a real free-for-all. But then came Web 2.0. A few massive tech giants moved in and built these huge, walled gardens. Suddenly, they controlled everything. Our data, our money, our digital lives. All the power was centralized in just a few hands.
And as it often happens, a solution emerged right in the middle of a crisis. It's 2008, the global financial system is in a complete meltdown. And out of the blue, this mysterious figure, or maybe a group, we still don't know, using the name Satoshi Nakamoto, drops a brilliant idea on the world.
But here's the secret. The real stroke of genius wasn't just Bitcoin the currency. It was the revolutionary technology behind it, the blockchain. Think of it like a digital notebook, but instead of being in one place, it's copied and shared across thousands of computers worldwide. So, if someone tries to secretly change a record on their copy, everyone else's computer immediately sees it and rejects the fake. It's basically unhackable. And its trustworthiness all comes down to 3 powerful pillars. 1, it's decentralized, meaning there's no single boss in charge. 2, every record is cryptographically chained to the one before it, creating a permanent, unbreakable link. And 3, it's immutable. Once something is written down, it's there for good. You can't change it. Put that all together and you get trust without needing a bank or a big company in the middle.
And this is where the light bulb really went off for people. They realized, hey, if this technology can track money so reliably, what else could it track? Turns out you could track almost anything of value. And that idea was the key that unlocked an entirely new kind of digital economy. Think of the blockchain technology as the root of a giant tree. From that root, a few huge branches grew. On one hand, you got new forms of money, Bitcoin being the most famous one, of course. On the other, you got a new wave of financial technologies, or fintech. But then, a third, massive branch appeared, Tokenomics, a whole new world, the foundation for entirely new digital economies. And all of this paves the way for the internet's next evolution, Web 3. And if you want to boil it down to one core idea, it's this: to get rid of the gatekeepers. It's about building an internet from the ground up that's based on decentralization and direct connection.
So what does that actually mean for us? Well, it's a fundamental power shift. In this new model, the value and the control flow back to the individuals who are actually creating and using things online, instead of to the giant corporations in the middle. It's about taking the power back.
So what does this mean for the big established businesses? It's simple, really. It's a case of adapt or die.
This is digital Darwinism, and it is absolutely unforgiving. Technology is moving so fast that if you don't evolve, you risk becoming a footnote in history.
And this is where things get really fascinating, because this technology opens the door to some radical ideas. For example, what if money wasn't backed by gold, but by something that's truly universal? Energy. I mean, think about it. Everything we make and do requires energy. What if that's what gave money its real value?
Or let's take it a step further, straight into science fiction. Imagine a world where your personal reputation is literally your currency. A world where anyone can issue their own personal token, and its value is based purely on how much society trusts them. It's a mind-bending idea.
And to think, all of these incredible possibilities, this entire technological revolution that could completely rewrite the rules of our society, it all started with a guy who was just hungry. It all started with 2 pizzas.
Which brings us to the ultimate question. If you can use this technology to reinvent something as fundamental as money itself, what can't you do with it? Where are the limits?
This entire journey, from a pizza order to the foundations of Web3, was all based on the fantastic analysis of ARA KARYAN. It's a story that shows how a technology can start small and grow to redefine the very idea of value itself. Thanks for your attention.